Postgame Show on the Padres Radio Network. Coming up, we'll deliver a full recap of today's game, including highlights from the biggest moments. Listen to Craig Stammen's postgame comments. Plus, we'll bring you today's play of the game. From the Padres Radio Network, here's Sam Levitt.
Welcome into our Jamul Casino Resort Padres post-game show here on the Padres Radio Network. Final score here at Petco Park tonight, the Giants 9 and the Padres 3 as the Padres drop to 1-4. The Giants improve to 2-3. A lot to do on our post-game coverage. We'll have all the radio highlights for you in a little bit. Hear from Padres manager Craig Stammen coming up in a little bit as well. As always, our post-game coverage brought to you by Jamul Casino Resort. Hey, player, need a little me time? Jamul Spa was just named one of the top 100 spas in America. Jamul Casino Resort, the player's place. Well, some thoughts right off the bat for you as we get started from Petco Park here tonight. You look at what has been a tough start for the Padres here in 2026. Not a panic button type of moment, certainly, but 1-4 is not the way you wanted to start through 5 games. And now you really feel like you want to get a win tomorrow with Nick Pivetta on the mound to wrap up this homestand. If you don't, then you're looking at a pretty disappointing homestand to begin the season. But I think here tonight, it was the first time where it felt like sort of everything didn't go right for the Padres. You look at the first 3 losses of the year. On opening night against the Tigers, opening day against the Tigers, the tone was set early. Nick Pivetta giving up the 4 runs in the first inning. Padres fell behind. Pivetta gives up 6 runs in 3 innings, kind of set the tone for the ball game. You look at the second loss of the year against the Tigers on Friday. It was about the bullpen, Jeremiah Estrada, the late lead, coughed up, tough outing for Estrada. Happens. That was loss number 2. You look at last night, it was really about the offense not producing. Padres only give up 3 runs. They get 2 late. They only had 2 singles in the game heading to the 9th inning. Did not score before they had the 9th inning home run with 2 outs from Jackson Merrill. So there was sort of one aspect of the game, of the team, that you could look at and say, okay, that's why you lost the game. Tonight, a little bit different. Tonight, bit of everything. It was German Marquez giving up 3 runs in the first inning, then another in the in the 3rd inning, as the Giants took a 4-0 lead. That was not great tonight. Not a great Padres debut for German Marquez. The bullpen tonight was up and down. Kyle Hart getting into trouble in the 6th inning. Bradley Rodriguez giving up a hit, a sac fly. All the runs in that 6th inning charged to Hart. That was after the Padres had made it 4-3. Makes it an 8-3 game. Giants getting 4 runs in the 6th inning. That was an issue here tonight. Some other bullpen aspects tonight, not great as well. And then you look at the offense and you zoom out a little bit. Despite the Padres trailing early in this game, yes, they were down 3-0 and then 4-0. And then the bullpen makes it go from a 1-run deficit to a 5-run deficit in the 6th inning. But the bottom line is this. You zoom out and you just look at the offense. It's 3 runs on 6 hits, and you're now looking at 5 games into the year. The Padres have not scored more than 3 runs. They scored 3 runs tonight. They scored 2 runs last night. They scored 3 runs Saturday, 2 runs Friday, 2 runs Thursday. It's a very, very hard way to win games when your offense is not producing. So that continues, unfortunately, into tonight to be a problem for this ball club early. Is just run production. They're not scoring runs. There's not a lot of guys in this lineup hitting a ton right now. You look at their offense tonight. Yeah, they had the 3rd inning where, to their credit, they were down 4-0. They clawed back, made it a 1-run game, but it was essentially a span of 5 batters with the help of a couple of walks and a couple of singles. And that was it. That was all the offense tonight. And I understand the pitching side of things tonight, not great. Did not put the offense in a great position when you're down 3-0. Before you have a turn at bat. And it was the same way on opening day. Not a good position to be in. But you do zoom out a little bit, and we talked about it pregame. We talked about the lack of slug and some of the similarities that you're seeing from last year in a not good way as far as the run production and the slug. And 5 games in there, not scoring very much, and the offense is not doing a whole lot. So that continues to be an issue. But again, here tonight, it was a little bit of everything. It was Marquez having a tough start, Padres falling behind 3-0 in the first inning. It was the bullpen being unable to hold the deficit once the Padres chipped away and made it a 1-run game. And again, aside from 3 runs in the third, Padres didn't score again in this game. And again, you just look at the offense as a unit. When you're scoring no more than 3 runs, it's going to be hard to win a lot of games if this offense does not produce more than that. So tonight, a little bit of everything, and a 1-4 start for the Padres. They will try to end this season opening homestand on a high note tomorrow. We'll see if they can do that. It has not been a fantastic start at 1-4. When we come back, we go through the radio highlights, recap this game from start to finish. A little bit later, hear from Padres manager Craig Stammen. Again, the final score tonight is the Giants had 16 hits in this game. They win it 9-3. Our postgame coverage continues after this. Resort Padres postgame show continues here on the Padres Radio Network. Sam Levitt with you inside the Western Metal Building here at Petco Park as we continue to wrap this one up. Final score tonight, Giants 9 and the Padres 3 as the Giants improve to 2-3. Padres drop to 1-4. We'll go downstairs, hear from Craig Stammen coming up in just a little bit, so stay tuned for that. But first, let's recap this ball game from start to finish.
Which moments determine the outcome of today's game? We'll paint you a picture with our game highlights on the Padres Radio Network.
The headline entering this one tonight, right-hander German Marquez making his Padres debut on the mound. The longtime Colorado Rocky now in the brown and gold. It was the Giants' Willy Adames who led off.
0-1 pitch, hit in the air, deep down the left field line. Castellanos is back to the corner, and this one is going to go. Hit off the very top of the wall, bounced over the fence, and a home run for Adames. Only the fourth time he has ever led off in a game. The second time he has hit a leadoff home run, And the Giants take a 1-0 lead 2 pitches into the game.
Things didn't get a whole lot better for Marquez from there. He issued a 1-out walk, a single. There were 2 in scoring position with 2 men away for Jamul Lee.
1-1, ripped in the air, deep to right field. Fernando back towards the corner. Going to be over his head and off the wall. Ramos scores, Chapman scores, Lee head first into second. It's a 2-run double and a 3-0 lead for the Giants here in the first.
Padres then had a good scoring chance against Giants starter Logan Webb in the bottom of the first inning, trailing 3-0. Fernando Tatis Jr. hit a 1-out double. Jackson Merrill drew a 2-out walk, but Webb got Xander Bogaerts to fly out to end the frame. Marquez then got into major trouble in the top of the second. The Giants loaded the bases with 1 out, but Marquez retired Elliot Ramos and Luis Arraez to end the inning. Fast forward to the top of the third. Giants still leading 3-0. Matt Chapman led off the inning against Marquez. He hit a solo home run that just got over the fence in left field. Chapman's first home run of the season, and San Francisco had a 4-0 lead. So the Padres had a hole to climb out of early. They got a little something going in the bottom half of the third. Fernando Tatis Jr. drew a 1-out walk. He stole second. Manny Machado walked to put runners on first and second for Jackson Merrill.
1-0 pitch. Merrill lines it over the head of Arraez into right center and a base hit. Fernando rounding third. He's on his way. Manny's digging for third. Here's the throw. Chapman will not have a tag, and the Pods are on the board. Jackson Merrill, an RBI single. It's 4-1.
A 4-1 deficit. Merrill getting the Padres on the board with just 1 out in the infield back. Xander Bogaerts grounded out to short. That brought Machado home from third base. RBI for Bogey. It was a 4-2 game. That ground out also got Merrill to second. He was in scoring position with 2 men away for Miguel Andujar.
First pitch from Webb. Hard hit on the ground. Into right field and a base hit. Merrill speeding around third on his way. Lee comes up throwing the slide. Not in time. And a 1-run game here in the third.
So the Padres putting together a 3-run third. It was a brand new ball game at 4-3. The Giants leading by 1. Marquez taken out after just 3 innings and 65 pitches tonight. Kyle Hart came on for the top of the 4th inning. He pitched a 1-2-3 frame. Hart then worked out of a scoreless 5th inning. Padres still trailed 4-3 as Hart took the mound for the 6th inning. He got in trouble. Harrison Bader hit a leadoff double. Patrick Bailey walked. There were 2 on with 1 out for Willie Adames.
And Adames lines one up the middle. That's into center field and a base hit. Bader rounding third on his way. Merrill comes up throwing. It'll go to second base. An RBI single for Willie Adames. And the Giants extend their lead. It's 5-3.
Unfortunately, the damage just starting in that inning. Rafael Devers reached on an infield single to load the bases. Bradley Rodriguez entered to face Elliot Ramos. He hit a 2-run single. Giants took a 7-3 lead. Luis Arraez then hit a sac fly deep enough to center to score Devers from third base. The Giants putting together a 4-run 8th inning. They led 8-3. All the runs charged to Kyle Hart in that 6th inning. So it went from a 4-3 Giant lead to an 8-3 Giant lead. Meanwhile, Logan Webb went 6 innings in his start, giving up just the 3 runs in the third. From that point on, Padres offense went quiet against the Giants bullpen. It was JT Brubaker who pitched the scoreless 7th inning, a scoreless 8th inning. On the other side for the Padres, it was Bradley Rodriguez who pitched the scoreless 7th inning. Jeremiah Estrada got through the 8th inning scoreless. It was David Morgan who gave up a run in the 9th inning. By the way, already the 4th time in 5 games that David Morgan has pitched. He's on pace to, I don't know what the number would be, pitching a lot of games this season. Gave up his first run of the season to make it 9-3. Jose Buto put on the finishing touch for San Francisco, a scoreless bottom of the 9th inning, and that was that here tonight. The big story, San Francisco scoring 3 runs in the first inning. Padres did cut a 4-0 deficit to 4-3, but the Giants using a 4-run 6th inning to burst out and ultimately win this ball game by a final of 9-3. Final totals: 9 runs on 16 hits, no errors for the Giants. 3 runs, 6 hits, 1 error for the Padres. Padres now 1-4, Giants now 2-3. It was Logan Webb who picked up his first win of the season. He improves to 1-1, and German Marquez took the loss in his Padres debut. When we come back to Petco Park, we'll go downstairs, hear from Padres manager Craig Stammen. Again, the final score tonight, Giants 9 and the Padres 3 on the Padres Radio Network. Jamul Casino Resort Padres postgame show continues here on the Padres Radio Network. Sam Levitt with you inside the Western Metal Building here at Petco Park as we continue to wrap this one up. Padres will wrap up this series and this opening homestand tomorrow at 1:10 p.m. Adrian Hauser on the mound for the Giants. Nick Pivetta making his second start for the Padres. He will try to bounce back after what was a very tough start on opening day against the Tigers. We'll talk more about the series finale coming up a little bit later as the Padres will now try to salvage the finale of this 3-game set and avoid what would be a 1-5 opening homestand if they cannot pick up a win tomorrow. But we'll talk more about that later. Certainly preview tomorrow's game in its entirety at 12:10 tomorrow afternoon with our EcoWater SoCal Padres pregame show. Again, the final score here tonight, Giants 9 and the Padres 3. I said it in the opening segment, and we'll hear from Craig Stammen in a moment. You look at the 4 losses so far in this still very early season. I think the first 3 of them, you can kind of point at one thing that didn't work in particular. Opening day, it was Pavetta's start put him in a bad spot. Game number 2 of the year, it was a late lead that they couldn't hang on to. Jeremiah Estrada having the rough inning, bullpen couldn't get you home. The 3rd loss of the year last night, it was really about the offense only having 2 singles with 2 outs in the 9th inning and getting shut out until the Merrill home run. But here tonight, again, it was a little bit of everything. It was German Marquez having a rough Padres debut, giving up a leadoff home run, giving up 3 runs in the 1st inning. It was the bullpen after the Padres cut it to a 1-run deficit, made it 4-3, unable to really keep it in that neighborhood. 4 runs for the Giants in the 6th inning. They would get 1 more in the 9th inning to make it 9-3. And again, you just look at the offensive output, 3 runs on 6 hits here tonight. Not a ton, and aside from 3 runs in the 3rd that came courtesy of a couple of walks and a couple of singles and an RBI ground out, Padres didn't do much offensively tonight. Yes, they trailed 3-0 before they got a turn at the plate. Yes, the bullpen didn't do a good job keeping the deficit where it was when they got it to a run, but the offense now in 5 games has yet to score more than 3 runs, and they are going to have to do more than that moving forward. Certainly, if the Padres are going to turn what's been a little bit of a rough start around, and certainly in the big picture, have the type of season that I think we all hope and believe they can have. So a little bit of everything here tonight. I'll say on top of that, not to pile on here, the defense tonight, a little bit shaky in some different spots. You had Nick Castellanos in left field tonight. I don't know that it would have played a role on the ball that Lee hit, the 2-run double to make it 3-0. But the single before that, Chapman, the 2-out single, Castellanos bobbled it in left center and then threw to third base, which allowed Chapman to go to second. That throw's really got to go to second. Again, I don't know that it really would have mattered with the ball Lee hit because Chapman probably ends up scoring from first base anyway. However, he was definitely going to score from second base. A little bit of a miscue there. Castellanos, who again is not, we talked about it pregame, is not familiar with left field. Went back in a ball by the wall on the Chapman home run. It was a home run. It was over the fence. But if he's kind of in a bit of a better spot where that ball landed, I don't know. If he leaps up, can he get it? Not sure, but might have had a shot. But again, Castellanos isn't very familiar, A, with playing left field, and B, playing left field here at Petco Park, although it is, I guess, a simpler left field than some other ballparks. You had, a ball or two that Manny could have made a play on. So again, I'm not trying to pile on here tonight, but it was a little bit of everything. It was pitching, it was starting pitching, it was bullpen, it was offense, and I think a little defense as well. And the Padres lose the middle game of this series 9-3. Let's go downstairs here at Petco Park and hear from Padres manager Craig Stammen.
Let's pull up a seat in the manager's office and hear from Padres skipper Craig Stammen. Served up by Sinley Food. If you've had better chicken, you must be a rooster.
What do you think made Logan Webb tough against your offense tonight?
I thought we actually handled him pretty well early, and then he kind of he started throwing more four seams and cutters there at the end, which is kind of against his usual game plan, and he kind of stifled us there the last couple innings, got himself through 6. So, an ace pitcher, we battled him pretty hard. Had that inning in the third, but we couldn't get anything else after that.
When it comes to Kyle Hart, your decision to keep him in the 6th for that Willie Adames at bat, what went into that decision?
Yeah, I felt like I wanted him to face Devers, and Kyle had been pitching really well up until that point, and just felt like he was the guy at that moment. But hindsight's 2020, and maybe could have went with somebody else there. We never know what would have happened, but I trusted Kyle in that situation. He's been throwing the ball really well. Really cruised through the first 2, so felt comfortable with him in the third.
The other 3 losses seemed like they had maybe one thing to really point to. Tonight wasn't the cleanest game. What was your take on how this one kind of devolved?
Yeah, I think it's always tough when you get down early, especially in that first inning where you get in the dugout and you're already done, down 3. Same thing kind of happened on opening day. And then, we made a little bit of a comeback there, still down 1. And then, we just got to be able to, hold that deficit as long as we can to give our offense a chance. And, Webb kind of turned his game up, and then, we kind of struggled to hold them down in that 6th inning.
There weren't any errors, but there's a bunch of plays, I don't know, Jackson ran 200 feet practically
right,
and then stopped. Do you have any idea what happened on that play? Or
yeah, I'm not sure. It's pretty far away from the dugout. I'm sure Fernando and Jackson were both going for it. They both probably hurt each other and then stopped. But you have to watch a replay to see, what the communication was like, talk to those guys, and then, see if we can make it better next time.
What do you think of Marquez tonight?
Say that again?
What do you think of Marquez?
I think he just didn't have – you could tell right away he didn't have his breaking ball, and that's his bread and butter. And, they were on it, pretty hard tonight. So, go back to the drawing board and, hopefully his next start's better. He gets that breaking ball going like we saw in spring training, and then he'll be in good shape.
There were some questions about the back end of the rotation kind of coming into the season. 2 starts in for those 2 guys at the back end dropping a couple games. What do you kind of make of where that stands right now and your level of confidence?
Yeah, try not to judge people on one outing, especially a 3-inning outing or a 4-inning outing. But, these guys are big league pitchers, and try to, hopefully give them a little bit of chance to prove themselves before we come to any rash decisions on that stuff.
What do you make of the swing and miss, kind of the chase early from this offense? Do you attribute that to, some of the being down early in games, or is it a little more just concerning, even though it's a small sample so far?
Yeah. Like I said, I thought we battled Webb really well for the first 3-4 innings. And then he kind of just changed the game plan on us. And we did a really good job of not chasing, honestly, in my opinion. And then when a game gets out of hand, things change a little bit on their approach. But for the most part, I'm happy with the bats that we're taking. It's just, we got to be able to push runs across. We got to get hits when we need them. And we just haven't been able to get those right now.
What is your perspective 1/30th of the way through the season?
1/30th of the way, huh?
Gave you that one. But 5 games in, 1 time through the rotation, just what is your perspective right now?
Yeah, we're not playing our best right now, and like you said, it's 1/30th of the season. We got 29 30ths to go, and I'm excited for those 29 30ths.
That was Padres manager Craig Stammen following this 9-3 loss to the Giants in the middle game of this 3-game series. Sam Levitt back with you inside the Western Metal Building here at Petco Park on Jamul Casino Resort. Padres post-game show. Yeah, I guess that is one way to look at it. It is 1/30th of the way through the season. We have got a long way to go, but the first 30th has not gone the way you hoped. At 1-4, I think that's fair. But yes, a long way to go. We'll step aside. When we come back, I do want to focus on the 6th inning, because that is really the inning where this game changed. There's some stuff to talk about defensively. There's some stuff to talk about bullpen decision-wise. And we'll chew on that 6th inning when we come back. We'll also talk about the Padres offense a little bit more. If you do want to get a phone call in, phone number is always 833-288-0973, 833-288-0973. Phone number to call if you want to get involved. And a full look at the out-of-town scoreboard. Much more to do on our post-game coverage. Again, the final score tonight, Giants 9 and the Padres 3 on the Padres Radio Network. Our Jamul Casino Resort Padres postgame show continues here on the Padres Radio Network from Petco Park. Final score here tonight, Giants 9 and the Padres 3. As the Padres have fallen to 1-4 on the young season, the Giants improved to 2-3. Unfortunately, it will be a season-opening homestand that does not see the Padres pick up a series win. All the Padres can do now is try to salvage the series finale tomorrow with first pitch at 1:10. Our pregame coverage tomorrow begins at 12:10, and as always, a reminder for you, you'll have Ben and Woods on with you from 6 to 10. Braden and Frank, from what I understand, I think they'll be here at the ballpark tomorrow, here from my spot at the Western Metal Building from 10 to noon, and then I'll be with you from 12:10 up until first pitch, and away we go for the series finale of this three-game set. Phone number to call, as always, 833-288-0973, 833-288-0973. Phone number to dial. We'll get to a couple of phone calls here in a bit, so stay tuned for that. Before we get to some of our daily segments here on the postgame, I do want to just touch on the sixth inning quickly, because to me, that is where this game really, really turned. You look at a few things from that sixth inning. Padres had cut it to 4-3 after the 3-run third, and the inning starts. Kyle Hart. Now, Hart had been really good. A 1-2-3 fourth inning. Works around, didn't work around the 2-out double. Lee made just a bad base running decision to end the fifth inning. I don't know why you would go for third base to end that fifth inning, but he did. Long replay review. If you saw it, you know what I'm talking about. They throw him out. Hart gets through the fifth inning scoreless. And then the sixth inning, you had Harrison Bader lead off. Bader hits a deep fly ball to right center. Both Fernando and Merrill had a long way to go, but it looked like both had a chance to make the catch. They got to the spot sort of at the same time. They both pulled up, and it sort of fell between them. Now, was it an easy play for either guy? No. But if you talk to those guys, are they probably going to say, hey, one of us has to make that play? That's a catchable ball to start an inning. I think they say yes. And it probably should have been caught. Again, I'm not saying it's an easy play. They had a long way to go. But I bet if you ask both of those guys, they probably say, yeah, one of us has got to make that catch. And it falls in between them. After that, Hart didn't help himself. A walk. Then the strikeout of Schmidt for out number 1. So you've got a situation, runners on first and second with 1 out. And here is where Craig Stammen had some decisions to make. He had Bradley Rodriguez warming up in the bullpen. He had the right-handed hitting Willy Adames up. He had the DH, the left-handed hitting Devers on after him. And what Craig elected to do was stay with Hart through Adames to kind of get him to Devers. And unfortunately, Adames had the RBI single to make it a 5-3 game. He leaves him in for Devers, who hits an infield single, kind of a roller in the right spot to load the bases. Then Rodriguez comes in. Stammen goes to him for the righty-on-righty matchup against Ramos. Ramos 2-run single, a rise sack fly, and boom, just like that. It went from a 4-3 game in the sixth inning to an 8-3 game in the sixth inning. Obviously, just a massive, massive difference. And that was, to me, the decisive inning in this game was that sixth inning. I understand what Craig was trying to do, getting Hart to Devers. The other play would have been to go to Bradley Rodriguez to face Adames with 1 out, 2 on. A run's not in yet. You could have made that argument to go to Rodriguez there. I do understand what Craig was trying to do, getting Hart to Devers. Hey, didn't work out. Adames RBI single, then Devers gets on with the infield single. Then you go to Rodriguez, and Ramos, a good piece of hitting, 2-run single, sack fly, and boom, the game got away. So the sixth inning really, really decisive here tonight, and unfortunately, all 4 of those runs charged to Kyle Hart in this game. Let's tell you about tonight's Heart of the Order.
Let's take the pulse of the Padres and check in on the Heart of the Order, presented by Palomar Health, the official healthcare provider of 97.3 The Fan. Palomar Health, leading with heart for every patient. Palomar Health is reimagining healthcare.
Part of the order here tonight, 3, 4, 5 spots. Manny, Merrill, and Bogarts. They went a combined 2 for 10. Couple of singles in this game. Jackson had the RBI single to put the Padres on the board in the third, part of that 3-run third inning. Manny had a single in the 8th inning. Game was kind of out of reach at that point. Did have a walk and a run scored in the third. Xander Bogaerts had the RBI ground out in the third. So again, combined 2 singles, couple of runs scored, couple of RBIs for those 3, 4, 5 spots tonight. Machado, Merrill, and Bogaerts. And that is a look at the Padres' heart of the order here tonight. Let's tell you about tonight's relief pitcher of the game.
Which pitcher entered the game and slammed the door shut? This is today's relief pitcher of the game, brought to you by San Diego criminal defense attorney David P. Shapiro. We help good people regain control of their future when charged with a crime. Learn more at davidpshapirolaw.com.
Well, relief pitcher of the game here tonight. I'll be honest with you, it's a little hard to go with a Padre here tonight, and I usually try to lean on the Padre side of things, as you know, for these kinds of daily awards. Give you some bright spots. Little tough tonight. Kyle Hart gets charged with 4 runs and 2 1/3 innings. Can't give it to him. Brad Glay, again, his line will be inning and 2/3 scoreless, but the reality is he gave up the 2-run single to Ramos in the 6th inning and the sac fly to Arise. Again, all those runs charged to Hart, so it's hard to give it to him. Then you're looking at Estrada, scoreless 8th inning. The game wasn't out of reach per se, but Giants at that point working with a 5-run lead. You got Morgan giving up an unearned run, but a run nonetheless. And it's tough to give it to a Padre tonight. I'll give it to JT Brubaker of the Giants, who did a good job after Webb went 6 innings, 3 runs given up, 2 scoreless innings in the 7th and the 8th. At that point, it was a 5-run lead, so it wasn't like it was a close game. Super close, certainly. And Brubaker did his job. Scoreless inning in the 7th, scoreless inning in the 8th. So, unfortunately, here tonight, we'll give our relief pitcher of the game to Giants right-hander JT Brubaker. All right, phone number to call, 833-288-0973, 833-288-0973. Phone number to dial. Let's get to a few phone calls here before we go to break and go to our final segment, Out-of-Town Scoreboard. Coming up in a little bit. Let's begin things here tonight. Let's go to La Mesa. It's Ryan. Ryan, you're on the Jamul Casino Resort Padres post-game show. Go ahead.
Hi, Sam. Thanks for picking up. Welcome back for this year, all you guys at 97.3. The fan influence, I was listening on the radio. It went dead at the 6th inning. And we're selling out the house. Let's get behind this team, whether it's 9-3 or whatever. The players will feed off it. Secondly, hang a star. Let's talk about the history. And we hung a star, I think, 2 games ago. Really critical to a 4th-generation San Diego Padre fan. And then the final issue, Sam, talking about balls and strikes, a 1/10 of an inch out of the pocket, out of the strike zone. That was discussed on the radio. But and I asked you about this last year, is Colorado still the only home field where we are treating or humidifying baseballs for atmospheric conditions? Thank you all. Let's go Padres.
All right, Ryan, appreciate the phone call. There's a lot there. Let me try to jog my memory, get to touch on everything you said. As far as the humidors, I believe everybody has their baseballs and humidors now, from what I understand. Don't quote me on that, but I think they're all humidorized. I don't know if that's a word, but I believe, to my knowledge, they're all have some sort of humidor treatment to them now. That's my basic knowledge without really diving very deep. So that's one part. What else was there? Hang Star is great. I think it's one of the great traditions they have here at Petco Park. And on the radio side of things, and have the radio booth hanging a star. I think it's, really one of the great things we do to honor Jerry Coleman. So I think that's fantastic. What else was there? What else did I got to write this down next time? What else did Ryan get to? Oh, the crowd. That's right. All right. The crowd. Look, 5 sellouts, 5 games. The fans have absolutely brought it. They've done their part. They're amazing. I mean, they're selling the place out every night here in late March. Ryan, to be honest with you, it's tough when you're down 5 runs in the 6th inning and, you're having a little bit of a rough start to the season. It's tough to, when you're not seeing things that, you're not being given a ton to cheer about. It's tough to kind of get behind them and make a lot of noise. They got to, the team is responsible for giving you things to cheer about. Certainly the fans can do their part, but to me, the fans are doing their part. They're showing up, they're loud, and hey, they got to see things to cheer about, and there hasn't been a ton in the first 5 games of this season. But the fans are certainly doing their job, doing their part. They're showing up, they're selling the place out. Fans can do no wrong right now from a Padres standpoint. I think the team's got to give them a little bit more to cheer about, and then they'll make plenty of noise. Let's go to Johnny Alpine. Johnny, you're on the Padres Radio Network. Go ahead. Johnny, what you got?
Hey, Sammy. Hey, how's it going? Hey, first, I want to start off and apologize. I called on open day. I called you Jesse for some reason. I don't know. Maybe it was the heat stroke from being at the game. So I apologize for that. But to your points, a lot of great points you made at the end of the or in this post-game show. I think overall, very sloppy. Defense looks sloppy. Like you mentioned, a lot of that outfield ball hit to Toddy and to Jackson and then center right. That looked ugly. There's a few balls that got away from Manny, slipping on the transfer on one. And then even like the ball dribbling back in from the infield, that Jung Hoo Lee double, I believe, in the 5th inning, where he was eventually thrown out. It just looks sloppy, and we just need to get better. It's just, we talked about it. We're 1/30th away into the season, and so far it's been feeling like we're in the middle of June and some dog days right now. It looks pretty dark. And then lastly, I'll leave you with this. Near bottom in average, near bottom in hits, near bottom in slug, near bottom in OPS, if not the bottom of all 3. Our offensive metrics are terrible. And right now, like, I know we were talking about that 6th inning getting away from us. One run, it feels like it's an insurmountable mountain right now. So offense has got to do better. We got to figure out a way to start stringing some hits and start to get this RISP average, RISP OPS up, and we got to get some slug back in these bats. So thanks, Sammy, for all you do. Appreciate it. Have a good night.
Yeah, Johnny, appreciate the phone call. Look, I think a lot of what you said is fair. Yeah, tonight was sloppy, and they're not hitting. So when you have those two things going on, especially in one game like tonight, I don't know that they've played sloppy the other 4 games. Tonight, I think sloppy is a fair word. Again, defensively, there was, a lot of sloppiness tonight. It hasn't been that way every night, but yes, the lack of offense, to your point, Johnny, they're going to have to hit more. That's just the reality of it. They have not scored more than 3 runs in a game, and it is very early. Okay. I want to make that crystal clear. And if you've listened to me before, you know how I roll with this stuff. I'm going to tell you it's early because it is. Okay. You should know from the last couple of years, couple of seasons that had a 9 at the start of the win total, 90 win seasons. There were twists and turns and a whole lot of ups and downs. And it is early. It is very, very early. I'm not trying to excuse a 1-4 start. I'm not telling you it's how you want to start the year. I'm not telling you it's looked good. I'm not telling you the offense has been good. I'm not telling you any of that. But I am telling you it's March 31st. And we have not even hit April on the calendar yet. So all those things can be true at the same time. They've got to play better offensively. They've got to clean up the defense from what they did tonight. They've got to pitch better from really a number of different standpoints. Tonight was a little bit of everything. And Johnny, they've got a long way to go. But yeah, tonight, Craig said it during the postgame. Yeah, they're not playing their best baseball right now, for sure. It has not started the way you wanted it to start. Luckily, a season isn't decided at the end of March and 5 games in. All right, let's squeeze in one more phone call. Let's go to Ryan in San Diego calling in. Hi, Ryan.
Hi, Sammy. Back to that 1/30th comment. I wasn't particularly a fan of Craig Stammen going into that. There's 29/30ths of the season left. particularly because in 2023 they were probably telling themselves similar things, and by the time they figured it out, it's too late. But I mean, no need to go into panic mode just yet, because ultimately 5 games in, but they definitely need to figure out the offense and start playing more like a cohesive team, you know what I mean? But let's just get after it tomorrow.
Yeah, look, the 130th thing, and appreciate the phone call, Ryan. Yeah, like it's and Kevin Acey kind of framed it that way, so it wasn't Craig who framed it that way. But yeah, look, there's truth to it. I mean, there's a long, long way to go here. Get a win tomorrow, improve to 2-4, have a nice little feeling heading into the off day, heading into your first road trip. The Red Sox aren't playing well either. You're going to go there Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Then you got a Pirates team that has not got off to a good start after that. You put together a handful of good games in a row, even just a couple of good days, couple of good games in a row, you will start feeling a lot better about this group. But it hasn't been a great start. It hasn't. The good news, again, a season isn't decided at the end of March. We go on from there. All right, let's step aside. When we come back, out-of-town scoreboard, play of the game, wrap things up, get you ready for tomorrow on the Padres Radio Network. Our Jamul Casino Resort Padres postgame show continues here on the Padres Radio Network. Sam Levitt with you inside the loft here at the Western Metal Building at Petco Park. Final score here tonight, Giants 9 and the Padres 3. Hey, player, the rooftop pool's open. Day passes are available, and the spa is calling your name. Calling your name. Jamul Casino Resort, the Players' Place. Sounds like a nice way to spend an off day. Padres will have an off day on Thursday, not before they wrap up this series tomorrow with the first pitch at 1:10. We'll preview tomorrow's game in just a moment as the Padres will look to salvage the finale of this 3-game set and this season opening 6-game homestand. Let's take a look at the out-of-town scoreboard.
Let's take a trip around the bigs to highlight the scores that matter most with our out-of-town scoreboard. Presented by Jensen Premium Beef Patties. Always a hit for grilling.
Scores here tonight. Let's take a look at everything that has gone final. Now, the Rangers beat the Orioles 8-5 in Baltimore earlier today. Corey Seager, Danny Jansen, Ezekiel Duran home runs in that one for Texas. Marlins beat the White Sox 9-2 in Miami. Pirates beat the Reds 8-3 in Cincinnati today. Brian Reynolds, O'Neal Cruz, Ryan O'Hearn, former Padre, hitting home runs in that one for Pittsburgh. Phillies beat the Nationals 3-2 in Philadelphia. Andrew Painter, very talented, highly touted right-hander, making his major league debut. He was good, 5 innings and a third, 1 earned run given up. He picks up the win in his major league debut. Blue Jays beat the Rockies 5-1 in Toronto. A's picked up their first win of the season to improve to 1-4 against the Braves 5-2 in Atlanta. Shea Langeliers, his 4th home run of the season for the A's in that one. Angels beat the Cubs 2-0 in Chicago. It was Jose Soriano, 6 scoreless innings in that win for the Halos. Brewers beat the Rays 6-2 in Milwaukee. Gary Sanchez, Jake Bauers both hitting their 2nd home run of the season in that one. Cardinals blanked the Mets 3-0 in St. Louis. Astros beat the Red Sox 9-2 in Houston. Yordan Alvarez, his 3rd home run of the season. Cam Smith hit his first. Other scores, Diamondbacks beat the Tigers 7-5 in Arizona. Yankees blanking the Mariners 5-0 in Seattle. Max Fried, a scoreless outing in that one. He improves to 2-0 on the year. And finally, Dodgers beat the Guardians 4-1 in LA earlier tonight. And that's a look at the out-of-town scoreboard on this Tuesday. Final score in San Diego tonight, Giants 9, Padres 3. Let's hear tonight's play of the game.
One bounce, one hit, one pitch can be the difference between victory and defeat. What was the most important play in today's game? This is today's play of the game. Presented by Bill Howe Plumbing, Heating and Air, Restoration and Flood. We know how.
Runners lead, the 0-1 pitch on the ground right side. That's through and a base hit. Bailey will score. They're waving Adames. Here he comes. Fernando's throw to the plate is cut by Sheets. It's a 2-run single for Elliot Ramos, and the Giants' lead is now 7-3.
That's our play of the game here tonight. Unfortunately, our play of the game, but it kind of felt like it had to be that way. The 2-run single by Elliot Ramos went from a 5-3 game to a 7-3 game, and that's really where it went from. All right, the Giants tack on another run, goes from 4-3 to 5-3 in that 6th inning to, now you're down by 4. It's the 6th inning. You've had a quiet offense, and the Giants would score another 4 runs in that 6th inning to make it 8-3, and they go on to win by the final of 9-3. Like I said earlier, it felt like that 6th inning really was the decisive inning in this game, and the Giants took advantage of Kyle Hart and Bradley Rodriguez to take command, and they go on to win it here tonight. Taking a look ahead to tomorrow, the final game of this 3-game series and this 6-game homestand to open up the season. Right-hander Adrian Hauser on the mound for the Giants tomorrow. Right-hander Nick Pivetta will make his 2nd start of the season for the Padres. First pitch tomorrow at 1:10 p.m. Our pregame coverage from right here inside the loft at the Western Metal Building will begin at 12:10. Taking a look at the final totals here tonight for the San Francisco Giants. 9 runs on 16 hits, no errors. They left on 7. For the Padres, 3 runs, 6 hits, 1 error. They left on 6. Logan Webb, the winner tonight, he's 1-1. The losing pitcher, German Marquez, who drops to 0-1 in his Padre debut. Time of game, 2 hours and 50 minutes in the crowd here at Petco Park tonight. The 5th sellout in 5 games so far this season. The fans continue to show up, be amazing. 41,891 the attendance here tonight in downtown San Diego. Once again, first pitch tomorrow, 1:10 p.m. Our pregame coverage begins at 12:10. Until then, for our great studio coordinator tonight, Kyle Ovenshire, I'm Sam Levitt saying so long and good night from Petco Park. In the final score tonight, the San Francisco Giants 9 and the San Diego Padres 3. We'll talk to you tomorrow on the Padres Radio Network. Have a great night, everybody.